Hi, I'm Doug Oster from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and welcome to Digging with Doug. And this beautiful lady is one of my chickens. They add something very special to the garden, and I don't mean chicken salad. Let's head out to the garden and I'll show you an experiment these chickens are helping out on. I do love those chickens, and they've helped us build a little planting experiment here. This is all the compost from the Great Potato Experiment. But underneath this side of the pile is a whole bunch of fresh chicken manure. Now, we don't want fresh manure to come in contact with our plants. That could be have E. coli in it. Also, it could burn the plants. So what I've done is I put that manure down here, and then over top I've put 12 inches of this compost. And the idea being that as this manure decomposes, it's going to create heat, which hopefully will make this lettuce grow a little bit better than that lettuce, and that's the experiment. But fall has arrived. We're wearing the same stuff we wore when we started this program early in the spring, and so we want to keep this lettuce going, and what we're going to use is this floating row cover. This is a spun-bound translucent fabric. We've been using it all season long. Early in the season, we used it to keep cabbage moss off the cabbage so that we didn't have cabbage worms. But now we're going to use it as a little greenhouse. We're going to put it over the plants, and it's so lightweight, even when it's wet, that the plants themselves will hold it up. So let's get that down. And this will definitely keep the lettuce plants going. They'll be nice and warm, and you'll see they'll kind of squish it down there a little bit, but as it dries off, it'll be fine. What we'll do is we'll just take some soil and go around the outsides of this floating row cover so it stays here. And then the idea is it'll keep the lettuce warmer, and then it'll sit here all winter. And depending on the winter we have, we might be able to pick all the way through January. You don't know. And then much of this lettuce will make it through the winter, and you'll have the first lettuce crop of the spring, which is absolutely wonderful. Now we got to go up here and look at the tomato plants. If you had late blight, follow me and we'll show you what to do with those vines at the end of the season. Well, just like every other Digging with Doug, we're right in between the rain. We had some rain this morning, some later. It's very cool today. And those cool rainy temperatures we had early in the spring and through much of the summer was one of the reasons that we got late blight. And we had it bad this year. It was an epidemic, and you can see these vines are infected. They're dark black and brown, and the fruit themselves are affected. That's how we know it's late blight. Next year, if you just get tomato foliage that on the bottom is turning yellow and working its way up, that's an early blight, nothing to worry about. But if we see this blackness, late blight, that's a bad thing. So these vines cannot go in the compost pile because they must freeze to kill that late blight. Late blight is an airborne disease. So when it does freeze, that's the end of it. You don't have to do anything to the soil. It won't make any difference, but we need to remove these vines, and there's a couple things we can do with them. We put them in a plastic bag and send them to the landfill, which I hate to do, but that's one option. Second is burn them, and thirdly, we can dig a hole and bury them 2 feet in the ground, and then the disease is gone. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to rip out these vines and basically bury them, and that'll be it for the season for tomatoes. Next week, we're going to put the garden to bed, or at least we're going to start. There's a lot of stuff that's still going to grow in here over the winter, but there are some beds with tomatoes and such that we need to put to bed. And I'm always adding organic matter in here to help these plants. But if you can't bring in wheelbarrow after wheelbarrow, we're going to talk about something called cover cropping, where we plant something that's what we call a green manure, and then in the spring we'll cut it down and add it into the soil to add nutrients. Remember, if you've got a question about something we did on Digging with Doug or a general gardening question, log on to www.post-gazette.com/homes and click on the gardening forum button. I'd love to help you out. It seems like just yesterday that I put these tomato plants in, but now we've got to rip out all these vines, and I've got some down here that need work too, and that's where I'm off to.